right, so today I'm going to be talking and walking you through the Understanding by Design template. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on stage 1, which is the desired results section. This stage is all about identifying what we want students to learn by the end of a unit. Before planning any lessons or actual activities, we must first be clear on what you want students to learn at the beginning, or throughout the unit, I should say. This section here talks about the different subjects, the class, the time frame, all sorts of just information about the actual course. Then we get into the actual unit information, like the title, the time frame for the unit, like how long is it going to take, where does it fit into the course, as well as some other aspects of the course, such as the rationale, the time frame that you have to teach the course, and then the level of expertise as well. The unit summary just gives a brief overview of the unit before you get into the actual goals. It gives you some background information, as well as this thing called the big idea. So the big idea is something that brings your whole unit together. It shouldn't be just basic teacher language. It should be something that really gets students excited so they can see how it applies in the future and to their actual learning here. So as we get into the actual template here, the first thing is the professional organizations section. So this is where you would include things like the trusted educational sources who come up with standards and other regulations that you would use. For example, Common Core is an example. They set learning standards or competencies that at the state level or at various levels within districts have to follow. Common Core is a state standard that is recognized throughout. This matters because it gives a framework to align the goals of the unit with those larger standards with that organization. So there's space to list a couple of professional organizations there. And then you actually get into the standards and or competencies. These are like the code, essentially. These give you specific goals that students are expected to achieve, what they should know, and what they should be able to do. For example, critical thinking skills or communication skills, or even those subject-specific ones that were mentioned before previously in things like the Common Core standards can be brought in there as well. The reason why this is important is because it ensures consistency in the learning outcomes, and it once again builds that foundation for what the unit is going to build upon. Next is the transfer section. The transfer section shows the goals to students, and it gives them the chance to apply them in new situations. Taking what they've learned in the classroom is one thing, but taking that knowledge that they gain and being able to transfer it to real-world scenarios and problems is really what UBD is all about. So getting that knowledge and being able to transfer it into new situations is really what the transfer section is about. I like this section as an educator because it really focuses on teaching lifelong skills. It doesn't just focus on this certain content in the class. It teaches you how to apply certain content to the real world, or critical thinking skills, problem solving skills. And it challenges people or students to think independently in unfamiliar contexts. The next section is the meaning section. This is where we get into the deeper part of the learning, understanding why this matters to students and how it really connects them to the real world, as well as how the content connects to their lives. The essential questions are the first part of the meaning section. The essential questions are usually open-ended and thought-provoking questions that guide students' thinking and discussion throughout the unit. They're meant to make students think about how this can make sense or get their minds just thinking about the content, start to begin those problem-solving skills that they will be using throughout the unit. Some examples, or I guess why it matters, is because it encourages students to be engaged with the big idea of the unit. These questions capture that student interest and gets them to really think, why is this important? Oh, that's why the big idea is important, and I can start to see that. The understandings portion of the meaning section are those big ideas and key concepts that you want students to really grasp deeply by the end of the unit. It's what you really want them to get out of the unit, to understand, to be able to replicate over and over and over again. It challenges students as well to really recognize what they are learning in this unit. It matters because they are the core takeaways that give purpose to what the students are learning and help them make connections. The next big section is called the acquisition section. Now, this section is more about the specific knowledge and skills students need in order to build the understanding and then be able to transfer the learning. How are they going to acquire that knowledge? The first one, coincidentally, is knowledge. This refers to the facts, the concepts, vocabulary, and information that students need to know. It's tough to apply something and analyze something that you really don't know, so the knowledge section accomplishes that goal. It communicates that to students. The skills section, right after the knowledge section, are the processes or actions that students should be able to do to use that knowledge. It's the practice that gets those students thinking and applying the knowledge within the acquisition section. In conclusion, the UBD Stage 1 is like laying out the blueprint for learning, the blueprint for the unit. It gives students and educators that idea of what the unit's about, the rationale, why they should be thinking this way, and it gives them that really engaging way to be with the content. It's not simply just, here's a book lesson, read this page, do this homework. It gives them a chance to actually see how this unit can be applied in real-world scenarios, as well as how they can use that learning in the future. It's important for teachers, especially because you have to design the destination before designing the journey. It's important because without having that clear goal, it's tough to determine where learning should progress from. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.